Today is April 15th. It is Friday. The year is 2016. So we want to talk about the process of understanding, I guess that's what you might call it, and how, and I guess that versus belief. And let's see how we'll present this. So the thought came of how when we go through something in this place that is like kind of a traumatic experience, it changes us. But that's a process. So we'll take a traumatic event, let's just say perhaps the death of a loved one, someone that you were really close to, and like when that first realization comes to you, it's a shock. Like there's no way that your head, that your comprehension can wrap around this idea, this thought that this person that you've come to love so much has been a part of your reality, and now that's just, it's done. And no one, and a person who would be able to come to terms with that immediately, there's something wrong there. Okay, the person I've loved for all these decades is gone. Okay, so what else is on the agenda? No, that's a problem. So it takes months or years, if ever, for a person to finally be able to exist in a reality where that loved one isn't physically a part of that with them, and it takes time in this place. So now we're going to apply that to what happens on a different type of energetic level. Dude, careful. Lord, he didn't see my car like right in front of you. Did you hear him screech? Like, what's going on? So a different type of energetic level when we've come into a type of understanding or knowledge, say, information that is new. Now, there's two things that can happen. Just like with the death of a loved one, you could deny that. You can, and people do that who will not accept that, will not come to terms with that, will live as though the person still exists. They'll keep their room the same. They won't, even though the person's not there physically, they'll make their lunches the way they always did. They'll do all the stuff and deny that the person ever passed away. So that's just their way of dealing with it. Not dealing with it is their way of dealing with it. It didn't happen. In their reality, they're not going to accept that happened. Now, when information or something comes to us, if it doesn't resonate, first of all, if you read something or someone tells you something, you come across some information, it doesn't resonate, you don't try to force that. It doesn't exist in your reality. It can't exist in your reality. You could say you believe it because all your friends believe it, or they're telling you at the church, this is what you have to believe to be saved, or whatever. But if it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't integrate with all that you are already and kind of fit into place like a piece of a puzzle. Imagine yourself as a puzzle. And if these pieces of this new information don't fit in, it doesn't fit in. Don't pretend that it does out of guilt or shame or embarrassment. It doesn't. And that's fine. You have to live your truth. And you can't, in the same way, if a person cannot come to some kind of resolution that a loved one has passed on, they can't, don't browbeat them, they can't do it, and you're just there to love and support them the best you can. And that's it. Now, on the other hand, we'll go back to the person who is accepting that someone has passed on. And so, they're accepting that into the reality. Now, piece of information, although in reality, the person did pass on. In the case of information, at least physically they passed on. In a case of information, if it doesn't resonate with you, then it's not true for you. It's just not. And that's it. Other people's truth doesn't have to be your truth. So now if in a different type of energetic sense, when we come upon something new, some awareness or understanding or whatever, that does, even if it does resonate in you somewhat, like you can accept it, just meaning it, yes, that I see it, that makes sense to me. That doesn't mean you're a good person or holy or righteous. That just means it fits into who you are right now, right? Into where you are right now. But even so, if it's something that is way different, it's going to alter your reality somehow, there is that processing that has to take place. Okay, even if, so say you come upon something, you're like, whoa, and it just, even if it comes to you and you're like, wow, yes, it does, there's still the time it's going to take for it to really move through you. It's not just in your brain, okay? Consider your whole being. Every cell in your body is in on this thing, right? So, I'm not sure what you're doing. And it takes time for the information to integrate itself into every cell of your being. Okay? Now, just like in a physical sense, a physical trauma will cause you physical discomfort, stress, or even post-traumatic stress disorder, type thing, or syndrome, or whatever. People go through this period where they're integrating this new way of being into their reality now, and it I hope I don't have to turn here, because I really didn't want to turn here. Oh, good. And it takes time, and the same way with us, while we're processing throughout our being, throughout ourselves, whatever this new thing is, it can cause discomfort, because it seems like, we're spatial, not just the area. We look around us and say, if you look at a box and say it's 3 by 3, by 3 by 3 by 3 inch foot box. And you know you can't fit all of your belongings in there, right? You just know. You're not going to even try. You know you can fit some things, but there's a limit to how much you can put in there. And it seems like we ourselves also are spatial like that. There's only so much that will fit in us. And so while we're trying to process and integrate the new, it needs a place to be. And there's a dual action that's taking place. While we're processing and integrating the new, we are what's being the old, which is not our truth anymore, is working its way out, because there's space. There's only so much space, right? And by the way, this is just me talking, okay? Nobody needs to have to believe anything. Don't ever believe something that doesn't resonate with you. This is what I'm feeling and understanding at this time. And who knows, next week I might come up and say, you know what, stuff I was saying, yeah, it may transmute into some other thing. But as of this moment, this is what I'm seeing. So that can be uncomfortable, you know. So while we're integrating the new, we are expelling the old. And just kind of even picture that process, you know, on a physical level. And so for many of us, there's a bit of discomfort that goes along with the processing activity that's taking place. And by the way, we're always processing. We're always processing. Now, whether or not we choose to process new into and let out old, that's on us. We're the gatekeepers of this. Or consciously, we are the gatekeepers, and we can decide to not. In which case, the discomfort is going to be different. There's always going to be an amount of discomfort when things are moving and changing, because that's just the nature of it. You know, it just is. I'm always a little uncomfortable when I see people in the crosswalk picking something up off the ground, like during traffic time, just bending over and picking something up. I'm like, if it wasn't $100 bill, you need to just move on. Even that, is your life worth only $100? But anyway, he got away safe, so good. Anyway, change can be uncomfortable, and not changing is also uncomfortable. Change is natural, and to not change and to resist change and to what we're doing is the energy, when you bring in the new, or you don't even bring in the new, you allow the new to come into you. You allow it. It's a flow, and you allow it. You don't resist it. And there's a measure of discomfort in that, but it's just part of the process, and we understand that because we're in these physical vessels right now like this, and that's just the way it is. However, the discomfort we cause ourselves by not allowing that to happen is multiplied, intensified, and we cause ourselves suffering, and also we use energy, which is also takes space, right? It's all energy, but the energy we use to resist the new is extra energy, and that's depleting, and that's tiring, and that's, that'll cause like fatigue and just kind of worn out, because we're using this energy to keep something going that shouldn't be, that should be moving along Just like the seasons change. Everything in the natural world changes, right? And, you know, what if the earth decided, if it could, you know, I want it to always be warm on that side of me. And I want that side of me to always be facing the sun. Well, it's going to happen after a while. You see? That's not natural, right? And there's going to be problems on the whole globe is going to suffer. And we do suffer. But anyway, that was a weird illustration. I should put air in my tires. That's one of the things I don't like to do, but we'll see. Anyway, also when we let the flow move through us and bring in the new, it has its own energy. We just let it. Whereas when we resist, we are using energy. We're misusing energy, actually. Okay, so when you allow the flow to do its thing and move through you, you have tons of energy. Way more energy. Because you're not using it to resist the natural process that we need to go through. Because that's a problem with attachments. When we have attachments in this place, all of our attachments are a part of us, really. Really is. We expend energy on maintaining attachments. And so that's why it's so good to not have them, because that's extra energy now that we can use, creative energy, to be the co-creators that we are meant to be. See? So it all works together very well. In this place where there's separation, or at least the illusion of separation, mine, yours, his, division, isolation, and all of this stuff, belonging and holding on to, withholding and choosing what to share and what to hold on, all of that stuff, that's part and parcel for the way humans have been existing for millennia, right? But now that we're moving into a new way of being, we understand we can't take that with us, because that's energy and that's space in us, and it won't work. It can't work. It just can't. You can't exist in the new paradigm with the rules of the old paradigm. It's impossible. And anyway, so we'll just tie this up now. It's almost 20 minutes. So the whole thing was, I didn't put air on my tires after all. Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow or something. Lazy bum. So the whole thing is, when we're faced with some new thing, and it does resonate with us, and we are and that's not even, again, that's not to say that the new thing is that we're supposed to resonate. There's no such thing as this is supposed to resonate with you. You can't say that to a person. You just can't. It's like walking up to somebody saying, you know, you're supposed to be in love with that person. You're supposed to be in the mood for this type of food right now. It's all, no, you can't do that. I don't really want to park there. Damn it. A lot of good parking is gone. I'm going to have to park all the way down here. But when something doesn't resonate with you, then you don't accept it, because you can't accept it. So what's going to happen is, outwardly you're going to say you're accepting it, but inwardly you're not really accepting it, and there's going to be that. That's not true. You're lying, and You can't lie to your beingness. You know, your beingness knows whether or not it's accepting and integrating something. Anyway, I kind of got off of the sentence I started, which I do sometimes. 20 minutes and counting. So when we discover something that's new to us, it's not really new, but to us it's new, and we integrate it, there is a processing that has to take place. It's like when you consciously say, yes, this thing really resonates with me, it makes sense. That's just you opening the gate and letting it in. That's not the integration, but the integration is part of the what do you call it? Not believing, truly believing. Changing your reality, basically. That's what it is. The integration is part of this new thing becoming part of your reality, right? And we said it is accompanied by some manner of discomfort, because change, and that's just it. But when you understand that's what's happening, that does help. It really, really, really does help. Even maybe you're a person that when this thing comes to you, or rather you've opened yourself enough where this thing is flowing through you now, you might feel a variety of physical symptoms as you're that's becoming, part of you. Body aches, muscle aches, pain, headaches, joint pain maybe, nausea. And that's not fun. But it makes it easier, just like if you were really, really sick in the hospital with these things, and it helps to have the support and the compassion of others that come checking on you and trying to make you as comfortable as possible. Well, now with the awareness of what's happening, you have that in yourself, that voice in you that's saying, it's okay. You're going through this process, but you understand what's happening, and it's just temporary, and you're doing really well, and we're really proud of you. I'm really proud of you. It's, just remember that this isn't going to always feel like this. That makes all the difference. So anyway, thank you so much, and much love to you. Bye.